She's so far from home, from all she's ever known, half drowned, lost in a world still clouded to her eyes.
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a game from 2017 that is considered that year's possibly biggest sleeper hit, as it ended up being a breakout success for Ninja Theory. Fast forward 7 years, and we finally got the long-awaited sequel, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Long-awaited not only because it's been a while since we got the first game, but the sequel was announced back when the Xbox Series X was first announced, like it was announced alongside it. And if I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little torn on the game, but let's talk about it. Hi guys, MiiKcast here reviewing today Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Now before we get started, you know what to do. If you like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, leave a comment, or I will put you through the Iron Maiden.
She's hurt. So tired. She's going to fall. No! Careful, Senua.
First off, one thing that is easily worth of note when it comes to Senua's Saga is the visuals. And I'll tell you this, all the time and money put into this game, it wasn't put into the gameplay, it was put into the visuals. Because holy shit, this game looks unbelievably jaw-droppingly, drop-dead, insanely beautiful. Like seriously, I thought Alan Wake 2 was the best looking game of this current generation so far, but I think Hellblade 2 might have just surpassed it. At times, it looks like it's live action. It doesn't look like a video game, and the cutscenes, yeah, no, they look real. Not to mention, it has a cinematic feel to it, and that's a good thing. The black bars on the top and bottom that you see, those are there for the whole game, and maybe that can get a little annoying, and I'll get into how it could be a little bit later, but the bars being there throughout the whole game helps give Senua's Saga a distinct look and feel. I also gotta mention the sound design. This isn't usually something I go out of my way to talk about in a video game unless it's really top notch, and with Hellblade 2, not only is it really top notch, it's kind of very important. You see, the game follows Senua, who is suffering from psychosis and can hear voices in her head. Those voices arguing back and forth throughout the game really adds to the trippiness and suspense throughout the game. They also do some interesting things with the story, particularly certain moments happening and has the player ask, did that really just happen or is that an illusion? If you play the game, you'll know what I mean. One reason why Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 feels so cinematic is the motion capture and performances. And I mentioned the big budget went to the visuals, but I think it also went to the motion capture, as it is really damn good. And the performances are top notch too. I would not be shocked if Hellblade 2 gets nominated for Best Performance and Best Sound Design at the Game Awards, and damn does the game deserve the nominees, possibly even a win. I will say, overall, and I'm gonna get into some issues later that might contradict this, but I will say that I did enjoy my time with Hellblade 2. Moving on to the mixed, I know I mentioned that I like the black bars as they give the game a unique feel, but sometimes they could be annoying and a little distracting. Particularly, there are of course cutscenes in the game, obviously, and they have the black bars, but the cutscenes look no different than the actual gameplay, so sometimes you don't realize when you're in a cutscene, or other times you'll be in a cutscene, but then it ends and then the gameplay starts, but you don't realize that the gameplay just started, so immediately an enemy just attacks you. It's a minor complaint, but something I thought to mention. Another thing that I'm mixed on is the combat. And it's not particularly that I'm mixed on it, but rather there are things that I like about it, but things that I also don't like about it, and I feel they cancel each other out. What I mean is when you're in combat, the game gives you no health bar and it'll keep throwing enemies at you, and I like that because you don't know what to expect. Since you have no health bar, you can die at any moment, and since the game throws a bunch of bad guys at you, but can stop at any moment, you can be done at any moment because you don't know how many bad guys you're gonna fight. The issue with the combat though is that it is very generic and basic and boring. You get a light attack, a heavy attack, a dodge, and a parry. That's it. There is an ability that you get a bit later into the game where it's basically a power-up, but yeah, that's about it. Pretty much, when it comes to the combat, what you see here is what you get. What the game teaches you and shows you at the beginning is pretty much all the combat there is for the rest of the game.
Trees. Warmth. Something called us here. Something called us here. Something special.
Moving on to the bad, it pains me to say this, but Hellblade 2 feels like a tech demo for the Xbox Series X, a console that has already been out for almost 4 years, as opposed to this being, a big new Xbox exclusive that the console kinda needs right now. I mention this because pretty much all my issues with Senua's Saga lead into that point I just made. Obviously, the big talking point about this game going in was the length and how it's only like 5 to 6 hours long. I knew that going in, and I thought that it's about what the game does with that time that matters. And unfortunately, while not terrible, and not even, I don't even want to say bad, I really don't want to say bad, but Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 does not really use the 5 to 6 hours that well. I mentioned the combat, but when you're not in combat, all the gameplay is just moving forward, like, that's it. And when you're not in combat or just walking, there are these puzzles you solve, and some I didn't have a problem with, but others, particularly the one with the fire and the torches, I felt were so boring. It felt like filler in a game that you could probably beat in one sitting if you really wanted to. And I know that this game prioritizes story and visuals and does a great job with those elements, but I feel like because of that, we get a 5-hour game with gameplay that isn't really much of anything. All this, like I said, goes back to what I said earlier about Hellblade 2 feeling more like a tech demo. This feels like a game you package with the Series X at launch. I don't quite think it's something we wait for as long as we did. Can you see why I'm a bit torn on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, unless you skip to this part of the video and you did not watch my reasoning at all, just to see my final verdict? And if that is the case, then, well, I'm on to you. But this game is just very bizarre to me. You make a long-awaited sequel to a critically acclaimed game and make it a 5-hour tech demo for a console that has been out for almost 4 years. The gameplay is nothing to write home about, the puzzles are boring and feel like filler for an already short game, and the game is hella short. But graphically, Hellblade 2 is unmatched, and overall, I don't regret my time playing this game. It's not a bad game by any means, but I'm just really confused by the direction that Microsoft and Ninja Theory took this game in. Overall, I'm going to give Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 a 7 out of 10. And I know that might seem a little high for what I was saying about the game, but this is not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a little disappointing, but mostly confusing, if you know what I mean. Not confusing like what's going on, confusing as in like, why is this what the game is? You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I'm very torn on this game. Maybe give it some time and then possibly I'll like it more or I will like it less. Who knows? But what do you guys think about Hellblade 2? Or Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is the title. Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys played it, not played it? Do you guys want to play it, not want to play it? And if you, I messed up the thing that I say at the end of my reviews a lot. But anything about the game, let me know down below. Anyways, be sure to like this video, come subscribe, or I will put you through the Iron Maiden.